Hi guys, welcome to the new episode of Rejection Chronicles. I don't know if you've noticed, but this one comes exactly 1 week after the last one. Magical, isn't it? And the secret was, I recorded them both last week, and I left myself no room for failure. Suck it, me! Could that be the secret to an organized life? To not leave everything for the last possible moment? Spare myself all the stress of the university, prevent myself from having to wake up at 3 in the morning to write the horoscope? Nah, that's not it. Okay, I get it. America is huge. They also have the UK and New Zealand and Australia all getting into the game. They have so many brilliant minds, so many prolific authors, they just don't need the little old me. And neither does the internet really, that bitch is even bigger. So, like the prodigal daughter, I've decided to return to the Polish, literally, soil. Return to the basics and try again in my own homeland, where people are fewer, agents are basically non-existent, and nobody writes queries. Indeed, in this episode I will be talking about my second attempt at writing and publishing a book in Poland. And it's a rather recent affair, and not quite over yet either. So a long time ago... Sorry, the lamp shone into my eye and there was this backflash thing or whatever. I thought I saw a monster in my kitchen. Never mind. So a long time ago I was doing some ironing, right? I was watching some random TV show or another and my brain was like, yeah, fuck that, let's think about something else. So for a little while, and by a little while I mean this sort of while, so like one conversation, my mom and I considered writing a book together, like a collaboration of sorts. She always said she's great at writing, but she doesn't really like coming up with ideas. She's not great at that, she can't really make things up and characters and all of that garbage, you know. And I was like, yeah, that is my favorite part. I don't need to type anything, I'll be happy. So he was like, perfect, yeah, maybe we should write a book together one day. And she was probably like, yeah, in 30 years or so. And I was like, maybe tomorrow or so. So there I was doing the ironing and my brain started to muse. So what actually sells? What really, really sells? You know what sells? 50 Shades of Grey sells. So what if we do something like that? Only not, because that book is actually full of abuse and horrible examples from relationships. If you've never read it, if you've never watched the movies and you're actually interested, there is an awesome series by a guy called Dominic Noble. Used to be called The Dom, but after the series blew up, I have a suspicion it was a factor in his changing his name to his actual full name on YouTube. So I will link it in the description. He dissects the books, he dissects the movies, and it's honestly very insightful and pretty funny, so I really recommend it. So either way, this was not the kind of book I wanted to write, and also I would not be able to write this much smut, let's be honest. Like, a few scenes here and there, sure. Half a book of it? No way. And probably that's why this book that I had in mind would never sell anywhere near as good, but the concept and the underlying concept of 50 Shades of Grey or 1,000 other romance novels that based on the similar thing, it's catchy, okay? It's just catchy. There is a rich guy and there is a girl that's not rich, and he wants her and she wants him, and you know, there is a story around that. That just works, okay? It just works. So, since we didn't want to write anything ambitious, we just wanted to write something that would sell, something simple, something as easily digestible as, I don't know, cotton candy, since it just falls in your mouth. So what is there that's easier to digest? That seemed like a fun idea, you know? Simple concept, let's roll with it. And my brain hence continued its tale. It said, so there's gonna be this girl Maya and a guy, let's call him Felix, and here's the deal. He will really like her, But he has this rule. He only enters relationships for 1 year. And he offers Maya this kind of deal right after they meet. No tricky business here. He tells her, let's be together for a year. I will show you the world. I will show you the real life. It will be all bohemian and awesome. And he's a little bit of a snob. And then, after the year passes, well, we shall bid each other farewell and part as friends and civilized people. And she will be like, well, can I really say no? And she will be like, yeah, of course I can say no. But then she will not say no after all, because otherwise there would be no book. And the whole thing will be like, she obviously falls in love with him, even though she's trying not to. And he kind of falls in love with her, but, you know, he has this rule. And instead of the mountains of smut, there will be light-hearted, funny, I suppose, descriptions of life and some thoughts and just scenes with Maya's family, and it's going to be wholesome and sweet and in the end kind of not like 50 Shades at all, but you get it, right? You get it. In the end, my mom didn't quite like the idea, she didn't feel it, and I've decided to write the book myself. It maybe would have been better as just romance, but I really don't think I should be writing romance novels because I simply do not like them. I might have mentioned it before, but I don't really put myself in my character's shoes, or when I read a book, I just don't insert myself into the story. So the entire point of romance novels just goes over my head. It would be hence quite silly for me to try to write one. But let's be honest here, that's pretty close. So I went from my mind baby of a novel, the 5 books long, epic saga of betrayal and love and some magic, maybe not exactly fireballs, but at least some fire, like literal fire, not like let's go at it fire. I went from that to a book about a girl that's visiting fairy tale lands through the eyes of angels that are not really angels, but still there's fantasy there, right? And then here I am writing a book about a girl who meets a guy and they have fun. I see you, life. I see what you're doing, okay? You're testing me. And yet it still wasn't enough, was it? All this sacrifice, all these concessions, all these tests and baptism of fire where I had to drop the last bit of out of this world fantasy, and you were not satisfied. So I've written this book, right? I've written it. I have put all my most mundane thoughts and my mundane expressions and my mundane jokes into the thing. And I sent it to, I don't know, 3 people, something like that, people I know, of course. And one friend said it was very cool and nice and funny, but she didn't finish it. And I strongly believe that if you were into the plot and if you were into the book, you would have finished it. So, despite her glowing review about the half of the book that she's read, I actually took it as a no, that's not quite it. And then another girl that I sent it to, I mean, I don't really know her, she's the daughter of my mom's friend who is actually a reader. She apparently expected this to be a dissection of my generation's life. Isn't because it's basically a romance, and the title is Temp Girl, and it's not like a temp girl that cannot find her place in life. She's just temp in a romance, right? I mean, it kinda is the other stuff too, but it's really light and it's very light-hearted, and it's definitely not some sort of depressing dissection of our lost generation. And I think she kinda expected that from the name of the book. which is fair, okay, it's fair, but that's not it. And then one friend of mine, he said like it's fun and all, but the topic just doesn't interest him. And another friend that I sent it to, she didn't even start reading it because she's always so very busy. And I get it, but also maybe she read the page and she didn't like it and she didn't have the guts to tell me. So basically, I've sat on it, I pondered, and I've decided, I realized that yes, the language is very nice. Yes, all the reflections and all the funny bits like descriptions and impressions, all of that is very cool, and that's everybody said it's very cool. And even the male friend said that, yeah, he would read it for those things, he just doesn't care for the romance at all. But the plot, outside of this leading thing about the girl and the guy just having their problem with their limited relationship, there are things missing there, right? And I've decided, after talks with myself and talks with mom, I've decided to basically give this book a rewrite. And I think it will be good for the book. I don't know if the book will be good, let's be clear here. I think it will be better, but whatever I've written before, I pretty much rejected it myself. So that's why the title of this episode. So basically I spent a year writing a book and I was like, yeah, no. And people say that you are yourself's harshest critic, and there's a lot of truth to it, but I wonder if I will ever be happy with anything I write ever again. I don't know if this book would have been maybe accepted by some publisher in Poland. I don't know, but I will never find out. I will never send it in the state. And I don't know if I rewrite it, will I be happy with it and will I send it? Or will I be like, no, it's still garbage? And it might be another thing that I will just be rewriting till kingdom come, but, you know, wish me luck. And let's hope the next draft, and I want to finish it before my 30th birthday this August. My goodness, help. I feel like I'm getting old and I'm getting nowhere at the same time, and that's not a good combination. And that's also kind of a little bit what this book is about. So in that way, I suppose there's a little bit of me in Maya, though she's much more organized at life than I am. Like, maybe not organized, she's extremely disorganized. She's worse than me at this, but she's, I suppose, more open, more social, more immersed in the world around her. So she's got that going for her, and that's why she's going places. Indeed, this book is next on my list of things to work on. I'll be honest here, I don't love it. And it doesn't matter how good I make it. If I suddenly got an epiphany about how to write this book with all the right plots in all the right places and all the right jokes and all of that, I still wouldn't love it because the genre just doesn't tickle my brain. It just doesn't. It never comes to me like I'm just walking somewhere or I'm taking a bath and my brain is like churning out the ideas for this book. I always have to just sit down and make it, think about it, which means I'll never really feel this book the way I felt New Amazing Nightmare or even Death Wanted Frozen Butterflies, that really has grown on me over time and became a pretty important project to me. A very important project to me, honestly. Both of those books are. But at the same time, I think this book has the biggest chances of being published, not only because it's in Poland, not only because it's easier to publish a book here, I think, but it's just so simple. It's just so, it has that cotton candy level of digestibility. And yes, that's a word now. Because I, a girl from Poland, can make words in English. I remember my English teacher, I think it was the one that was teaching us in high school. She said, and I remember it to this day, that it is in a bad taste for foreigners to make up words in English unless it's something that ends with ish or esque, like picturesque or cattish, you know. But I'm a rebel, so digestibility is now a word. I'm gonna feel like an idiot if it's actually a word and this whole joke and anecdote has been for nothing. But, you know, we have to live with our failures here. Anyway, this isn't the only thing I'm trying to do. There is one more, and that's what the next episode will be about. And, well, you can probably guess from some things I've said before, it's going to be about short stories. But I'm not gonna say anything else today. Wish me luck with the rewrite. Or don't, I guess, if you don't like me. Sad, but, you know, who can help it? And I'll see you next week.